Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over all of the changes in version 3.2 of Gems of War. Many of them are pretty self-explanatory, given that a good majority of the changes that did occur were visual, but I'll be going over the ones first that aren't visual so that you guys know what all of them are. Also, if you have any complaints about the version, there is a thread about it, because there is definitely a lot of very weird visual decisions that they ended up making for the game, like why on earth the glory isn't all the way over there towards all the other ones, and many dozens of others. But anyways, let's go into the things that aren't visually apparent immediately, and those are the troop balances. So let's go all the way down to the things that have changed. So one of the biggest changes that ended up occurring is how traits work that trigger on 4 times or 5 time matches. Now every single one of these will only trigger once per clump of gems per turn. So for example, let's say you throw down a gigantic Kraken cast. It ends up landing and getting you 3 separate pairs of 5 times all simultaneously. This will only trigger your Kraken once. So it's not going to trigger 3 times for each of the individual things, or if it does a big clump, it might not. It could have triggered like 5, 6, 7 times before. Now it will only trigger once for the whole thing. One thing to note though is that you can still trigger them one by one. So if you happen to use a Kraken, you hit one 5 times, but then you go for another 5 times, manually swipe it, and then another one, and then you happen to get a cascade that lands into another one. All 4 of those would have counted to trigger the tentacles every single time. But if they all happen simultaneously, only one will occur. One other thing to note is that this still triggers per multiple. So if you have 2 or 3 Krakens in your team, let's say 3, and you go take a 4 times match, you will still trigger Kraken 3 times. But if you do that same thing and you get some kind of gigantic clump on the board, instead of triggering something like 20 times, it'll only trigger 3 for the instance. So keep that in mind. This nerfs quite a few troops: Kraken, Queen Mab, Corvash, Courage, basically anything that can ever trigger something on a specific instance. No longer will multiple of them be able to trigger at once. So they're still all very, very powerful, and you could also divert this just by simply taking them one by one instead of gigantic clumps. So only a very small nerf there, I would say. Okay, now onto the Wisp. This was, of course, one that many have been anticipating because of how annoying it is. It is still very annoying, though slightly less so. It now has a 1 higher mana cost. It was 9, now it's 10. And other than that, it now has a Fey Bond instead of the +1 purple, so using multiple of them on a team is less effective now. It is still very strong to use a double Wisp into 2 other troops, like a Queen Mab or Christine X or anything else. The main thing that this kind of nerfed is how well they do after the start. Since they still have Swift, you can still easily get up a double Wisp by turn 2. That's still ridiculously easy to do. And they still have Stealthy, so you can't like drain it on a single target. So unless you can get like a Corvash up super quick, you're not really going to be able to stop them. But the only thing that they can really do now is a really quick start, because after both the Wisps cast, they're going to need 20 mana before they can double cast again. And without the +2 purple anymore that they no longer have, it's going to be harder for them to get back up, but they still have just as strong of a start as they've ever had. So do keep that in mind. So still strong start, it gets weaker after that point. So if they happen to destroy you off the start, then you're still going to lose. If they don't destroy you off the start, then you're probably going to win against the new Wisps. So do keep that in mind, and let's go into the other one. Also, there's no X anymore to get out of these. I was trying to figure that out earlier. It's like, wait, how do I switch? You just click on the little icon. Some things aren't that self-explanatory in this patch. And now for the other changes. Def now has 4 more damage on its ability. A very small change, not really that relevant. It was pretty low on damage. Honestly, I feel like they could go a little bit further than that, or maybe revert the bonus that they just gave, the extra 4, and just make the boost ratio a 1:2 or something. But as it currently stands, def damage did need a buff. Even at its current state, it's relatively low. The main damage that comes from it is, of course, the def marks, but since so many things have started to get def mark immunity, I feel like they could bring up his damage just a little bit more, because def mark keeps getting less and less relevant with the changes that keep occurring, so he needs something to actually be able to do with that 24 mana cost. Swamp Lash, a pretty irrelevant troop, did get a buff. He still has his Impervious removed, which they ended up doing ages ago. No clue why they did that, but he now has a triple damage against entangles. He used to have a double, so in some instances he might be used now. For the most part, I still think he's going to be irrelevant, but if there's ever a really nice entangle that you could do damage into, could potentially be used. The biggest issue though is in late game. Even with this triple damage buff, it still does not have enough damage to one-shot an enemy. So even with the triple, it's not really going to make too much of a difference, at least later in the game. Jotnar finally got the buff he deserved. Jotnar is actually pretty amazing now. I haven't personally used him yet, but I definitely will need to. Instead of having a 5 times boost ratio, he now has a 7 times boost ratio. Since he boosts on 2 different things, barriers and giants, if you now use an all-giant team that happens to also be all-barriered, that increases his amount of true damage potential by 16. So Jotnar is now, or actually already was, but is truly now, the best single target true damage in the entire game. This is unfortunately for a very high mana cost of 22, so still not the most viable of things, but definitely might start seeing him in some all-giant teams. Of course, there is a hero class of Titan that also starts him with half mana and all giants, so that could bring him up to only needing a 11 mana cost for his very first cast. Currently, giants aren't really too good, mainly because a good majority of giants roll off the same basic colors. Almost all of them are centered around blue, yellow, red, and brown, so it's a little bit hard to mix them together since so many of them share pretty much the exact same color, but he did get a much needed buff there. And Infernus, similar to Death, though more relevant on Infernus, he also ended up getting a 4 damage buff on his ability, but of course this is quite a bit more damage since he not only hits 2 enemies, but he also hits half adjacent to all those enemies. So unlike Death, which is only gaining just a flat 4 damage, Jotnar is gaining almost triple that between all of the potential damage that it could possibly land, depending on where those explosions go. So really nice buff for Infernus. Not quite sure why he got it though. Infernus was already relatively decent. I had no issue using him. I guess this was mainly done for newer players, because this troop, without its traits, is pretty lackluster. It is one of those mythics that kind of has to be traded to fully be able to utilize it, but yeah, I guess that will help newer players quite a bit. And later in the game, of course, it's still going to be used with Infernus, so that's still going to be nice. Anyways, let's go over all of the visual changes. These, most of you have probably already seen. And as I mentioned, there is a post or a, in the description, there is a thread that you can go to list your complaints, changes, and things that you want to see changed. The first and most obvious thing is, yeah, complete overhaul of things like map, all these icons on the side, all of that. A lot of visuals have been overhauled in this game, and only half of it has been done. They're going to be doing another half, though after feedback, we'll see exactly what they're going to be changing with it. They went with more of like kind of a sci-fi thing. I like the color scheme, don't really feel like it works for this game though. A nice black with cyan color scheme. I actually really like the color scheme, though, as I mentioned, it's not really for a fantasy game. And it does make it pretty easy to still see them over top the blackness, as well as the just over here, which is something that they don't do for many of the new assets. A lot of the assets that they ended up adding are really, really hard to see against most of the backgrounds that they end up doing. So let's just go around this main menu and then go head around. So now one really nice thing that they did add is the ability to see the breakdown of all of your bonuses. I know a lot of people used to ask me in the past, like, where are all these bonuses coming from, or how do I have so much more bonuses than you? Well, here's the full breakdown of where you're getting all the bonuses from the VIP level, from your armor, from your guild status, and special events. They used to run special events a lot in the past. They haven't really as of recently, but hey, who knows, maybe they'll bring them back again. Obviously, since they actually have it here. But yeah, it just shows the full breakdown of where you're getting absolutely all of your percent bonuses. So that's pretty nice now, so that as you'll be able to see exactly what you're going to be getting. Also, they don't have it with the extra 100% anymore. This is just your additional percent. So technically, this is 250%. Not quite sure why they have it like that, but yeah, 250%. So you're really getting like your base value plus an additional 150%. So basically 2.5 times, even though it says 150%, that's technically a 2.5 times multiplier to gold. So that could be slightly confusing to some people, but at least it shows a nice breakdown of where it all is coming from. You can also see your gold per hour. This is pretty irrelevant factor, but it comes from all of your kingdoms. Kingdoms also have some kind of new little starring system, though it's a little bit confusing because they are still using the old starring system. If you go under the kingdom page, this entire page is still under the old format, so now they have the weird stars over here. Also, triple tribute chance, it's coming soon. They unlocked it. So yeah, we'll be able to get those hopefully, but as you can see, it's still in the old format. There's quite like half and half as far as the interface changes that ended up occurring within the game. And now for over here, let's go into the events. As you can see, it shows the main event right here, where you can go and get your rewards for the week. It also shows a breakdown of all these standard events, like these bonuses that you'll end up getting, the thing that you can get from our resources, as well as the event gem objectives with their standard claim, the standard ability to click on every single one of them to see what it is and all that kind of stuff. Still works the exact same way, just looks a little bit visually different. Mail is still the exact same, they haven't changed anything there. Offers is still the exact same, except it's a little glitchy now. And settings are still exactly the same with everything over there. So what should we go over next? Well, let's go all the way to the bottom left and kind of work our way around. Actually, while we're here with chat coming here, chat is also a bit different. It now shows in the middle of the screen in a little bit of a smaller font. I actually find that to be a little bit more convenient. Before it was kind of obnoxious, now it kind of works with the interface a bit more. Though the actual screens of it I do find slightly harder to read, particularly when some people do colors. It's also possible to use color code fonts, and I haven't found it yet. Or actually, I could easily do it if I just Photoshop, go into here, take this color, and then find a color code for it. But I believe it is possible to use a color code in this chat to make your text invisible, which is going to be really weird. That wasn't possible before, but now, because of how they made the background, you could just do whatever this gray color is and troll people with invisible colors. But other than that, the system for saying when a chat message has come is a little bit better now, though it is a bit clunky. I have seen this thing just do random lines in between text, so hopefully they'll fix that into the future. So let's go over to all the tabs now. So PvP. Everything here, I believe, is actually pretty much the same, except for the defend page, which just has the standard little changes there. So not much to go over, but let's actually go into a battle real quick, just to kind of show what's up with all this. Let's not use the Tesla team. Let's go roll with a... let's go use one of the nerfed ones. Sure, let's go show how overpowered this still is. But yeah, this hasn't really changed. This is using everything that was nerfed except for Forest Troll. So now things here. As you can see, there are a lot of weird visual decisions. My one I hate the absolute most is no board background. It is ridiculously hard to actually stare at this for long durations of time. I've barely even played since the update went live, just because of how hard it is to actually look at this screen now. But yeah, the hearts and the shields are the exact same color, same as the attack. I'm not quite sure there. Traits are a little bit smaller than what they were before, so it's a little bit hard to actually see them. Other than that, as you're doing the battle, it can be hard to really lose track of your armor, your HP, stuff like that, keeping track of it. A little bit hard to strain at the board. The option to leave the battle was switched from the right side to the left side. So now you have to keep going over there instead of before where all you have to do is click right around this little area. Now you have to click on the complete opposite side, which is also quite weird. Not quite sure why they did that either. And yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. They will be changing it in the future. You may also notice that there's no borders around the cards anymore. One thing that is nice about this, I actually don't mind the borderless things. I did like the borders, but one thing, and the reason why they actually removed these is mainly in order to... Oh, I should have taken it 5 times. But the main reason they removed this is mainly to be able to show off more of the troop art, which I do have to say is one of the better aspects of this game, is all the troop art that they have. So it's pretty cool that they did end up doing that, just to show it off more. I was a big fan of the old borders, but I can get over that. To see more of the troop art, that's always nice, because a lot of instances in this game, it basically gets completely covered up with the limited space they have every single time with the border. So it's nice that they ended up opening that up a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, it also shows these little icons over here on where enemies have been killed. Not quite sure what that is for either. Looks really weird. We also have this breakdown for the end of the battle. This is probably one of my favorite visual differences within this game. It does make the end of the battle take slightly longer, I believe, which is unfortunate, which this screen could have a much quicker way to get past it. But essentially, this shows like the entire breakdown of everything you get. I feel like this is much better than before, because you could easily like forget one. Plus, before, while it did go quicker before, it didn't really have a way to stop easily to kind of just get a nice consensus out of everything. Whereas now, you just get this nice little screen. I wish it showed all of them at once, though. Not really a way to do that unless they actually made it a bit smaller, but as you can see, it does show the 100% breakdown for every single possible resource that you gain, not just a few of them, but there we go. And does this little thing on its own screen now, instead of before where it would do it on this screen clunkily, so that's kind of nice as well. So that's all of that. Oh, Tribute, let's go show the Tribute screen. Tribute does look the nicest it has ever been, I do have to say. That they did do well. Now it shows the entire thing here. It shows the background in the back. I'm not quite sure why it doesn't show a troop from that kingdom. That is obviously not from Whitehelm, but it does show a nice little breakdown of everything that you get from that. Okay, so PvP, we already just did that. Games. Of course, now there is a breakdown of all the games. Treasure Hunt looks very weird because it has all the little icons there. I have no clue how they overlooked that, but yeah. I'm not going to play through the map because it's literally the exact same other than the end. Oh, and there's me trying to click to exit the battle, but of course they switched the icon, so I can't do that. Let's just retreat from this and go from there. Okay, so that's Treasure Map. Other than it looking weird, it's pretty much the same. Arena, you just go do your standard drafting. Unfortunately, you can't see what you have already drafted, which for some people might be a little bit harder. I know I sometimes forget like what on earth I'm drafting. So as you can see, this looks completely different. They even have an arena background and all that kind of stuff. Difficulty, whenever you can set difficulty, now has no indication of what it is immediately until you click on this, which tells you what exactly it is. So it's a little bit easier, actually, I would say, to see what difficulty it's currently on, because the text is a bit larger than before, but it's really hard since to really indicate what it is, since you have to deliberately go to this question mark to show. It's like, okay, what is Warlord 3? Well, let me just go click over there. Before, it would kind of already show you all the text. So even though it's in larger font now compared to before, it doesn't have a little icon anymore. It also does not have the automatic stats showing up immediately. But yeah, Arena still plays out the exact same as far as what you would do with your team and everything like that. So I'm not going to show anything with that. Everything's still all the same there. Pillage, of course, both with the dungeons as well as the Soulforge, there's literally no change since they already had this format for a while now. So there's no change here. This is exactly the same as it's always been, though. Diamonds do have their own icon now that looks completely different from the standard gems. So that's pretty nice now that they don't look exactly the same. And Guild got quite a few changes, and probably one of the better changes in the patch, which I probably should have mentioned first. There was one pretty important thing. As you can see, this looks exactly the same, but once we go into Guild Wars, this all looks different. So as you can see, here's the new breakdown screen as far as every single thing. No clue why every single one says War 1. But as you can see, it still shows your colors, still shows your points, still shows your results, still shows your mastery things. All pretty much the same here. Here is the biggest change. This doesn't take effect until next week because it's already midweek, which is why literally every single one of my teams are still the same. But starting next week, you will get incentivized to use unique teams. So as of next week, you'll start seeing, or you'll basically have to start setting up 6 designated teams, one for every single day, in order to not overlap on any kind of troop. This is going to be needed for you to utilize and obtain the most amount of points that you possibly can. This doesn't actually give you more points from defending, but it gives you more points overall for your week. So it is definitely advised to do it if you're in a higher bracket. Lower bracket people who don't have enough teams to be able to set everything, you won't really need to worry about it since you won't really be able to do too much in Guild Wars anyways. But for late game people, probably the top 5 brackets, you will need to start setting your all 6 defend days as a designated team. This will eat up 6 slots. They said that they are currently not going to be adding any more, but they may change that in the future. But you will have to eat up 6 of your slots, which is why I've kind of been waiting on it too, in order to fully utilize the points. So I'll need to figure out what 6 we were going to have to use, because that's 6 less teams that you'll be able to build for PvP, for Guild Wars and stuff like that. So that's the biggest change, and one that was really needed. Starting next week, we'll start to see a pretty decent amount of variety in Guild Wars, so it's going to be nice. Also, you can see the score thing here. It has no kind of like shadow or outline or anything. It is ridiculously hard to see against almost every single background. No clue how they didn't notice that. Same as the actual titles as well. Especially with titles like that, which are just dashes. It looks invisible in some instances. So here's the breakdown of all of the mastery things again. Looks slightly different, though it's still the exact same as it's always been. Same as this, slightly different, but still same premise. It also has this thing, which ends up showing the breakdown of how many points or how many battles you have done, the battles of your guild, and the battles of the opposing guild. As far as results screen, it shows basically same, just with slightly different icons. Red indicating the attack, purple for magic, blue for shield, and green for HP. That's perfectly fine. I don't know how I feel about that. Kind of preferred the icons before, but I guess they're trying to color code things now just to make it a little bit more visual. So I guess that works, because everything that ever gets shown, like if you might have noticed it with the 10% bonuses, the attack was red, the thing was blue, all that. So they might start using like color related things to indicate stuff. This page is still the same, except now it shows a clear indication of what the previous week rewards were, and you'll also be able to see this week's rewards the same way as always, just by going into this screen and clicking on them as such. So that's, again, is still pretty much the same. And the show top line, still same functionality as always. So let's go into the next little page, which is, I believe I showed everything with Guild, right? Yep, Guild and Guild Wars. Guild thing didn't get changed, Guild Wars did. And chess. Chess got quite a bit of a difference. Let's go and open up 50 right here. So right off the bat, you'll see we'll get all of our resources first, then we get all of our trade stones, and then we get all of our troops. This is the same for every single chess. One other thing to note is that it goes in rarity order, so we can skip and just go past everything, but it shows it in rarity order. So as you can see, here are all of our commons, and then here are all of our rares. If you do the this on glory keys, it will do all the it will do all the rares, then the ultra rares, then the epics, then the legends, and then the mythics. The slight bad thing about this is all of your legend and mythic drops will always be at the end. So there's really no hype for every single drop that comes out. It's only hyped for like the last few. Because in this instance, you're only ever going to know, like let's say we open up 50 glory keys. I don't want to do that now. We'll be opening them all on Friday. But let's say we open up 50 glory keys, for instance. If we get any legends or mythics, like only these 3 or so will end up being something to be hyped for. The last 3 out of 50. Before any of the 50 could be something decent, but now that has been changed. It's something that might be changed in the future, but as that currently stands, that is how it is. As you can see, the interface for this page is still the previous format. That hasn't been changed yet, and that's basically the only relevant thing in that page. Here you can see your collection, as you've probably seen by this video by now. All of the arcane trait stones now look different. Minor trait stones look like these little things. Major trait stones look pretty similar, but have a little different icon on them, and they glow a bit more. Runics are quite distinctive in that they have that nice little circle, kind of like the runic trait stones had before, except a little bit more visual. Arcanes too are quite distinctive in that they have the little skull in the middle with the 2 little side things on them. And of course, the Celestial is basically just a rainbow. The Rainbow Celestial, and it has a different icon in the middle of them. Clicking on any one of these still indicates what kingdoms they come from. Also, one other small change, which is kind of irrelevant, is Suncrest for some reason has a different icon now. They end up changing the icon for it, but clicking on any of these still brings you directly to the kingdom as it always has. Also, while we're here, I didn't really explain this earlier. As you can see, this looks a bit different. There's your quests, here's your to battle, your explore, your kingdom. This is changed for every single thing. Also, for explore, you can just click that icon as you've always been able to do to see what trait stones are dropped at this place, as well as the increased drop rate for those trait stones. And you can even see it just instantly just by looking at it. So you won't really need to speculate like, what color is this kingdom? You can just go straight to this page and immediately, oh, it's a green-yellow kingdom. And you can do that for every single kingdom. Like, let's say, which one is Kakarot? Well, there it is. It's pure purple and stuff like that. So that is a little bit better. Challenges still the same, except it's just a little bit visually different. All the actual challenges themselves are the same. Same as Explore. This you just get a random 4 to battle. You can still set difficulty, all that. Just a different screen for it. And I did notice, though, this X brings you all the way back instead of to the previous screen, and Kingdom page hasn't got changed at all, as I mentioned. So, Hero. We already went over everything with that. Troops, of course, we now have a new sorting system, as well as only showing 8 over here at once. As you can see, we can just click here for weapons, one thing for banners. Okay, I do have to say, one thing they did right, banners. Banners have finally been made good. The organization for this, I'm perfectly fine with this. It's one of the few things that they did really good this patch. Is now you can easily see within a matter of like 10 seconds. Okay, let's see if we can find pure purple. Go, 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 go. There it is. Boom, we found pure purple. That took like not even 3 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. This is much better than what it was before, I do have to say. Still not the most optimal, I would say, but it is 100 billion times better than before. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Also, a nice different screen for the bonuses now. It has a full breakdown of every single bonus that you have, not only from your troop bonuses for using a specific troop types, but also from your actual kingdom bonuses, as well as your guild bonuses, and it shows the full breakdown of that. So if anyone has ever been wondering, it's like, where are all my bonuses coming from? Well, now you can just click the bonuses and it shows a full breakdown like that, kind of like the resources thing where it shows a full breakdown. Also, there is now a search list. I do prefer this compared to before. They did end up removing quite a few search options, but for the first time ever, we can actually search for a specific color. As you can see now, we can now search for red, yellow, or any specific dual color that we want to. So that's pretty nice. We can still do the same single color as before, showing up all green, but you can also just go and get any double type as well as triple type if you really wanted to do that. Like right there, boom, there's Xenos because he's using all 3 of those. Let's say we only wanted a brown purple, and there we go. I mean a purple yellow, and then it shows all of those. So that's kind of cool. Other than that, it now shows the icons once again for these, so a lot quicker to go there. Let's say we wanted, let's go with Glacial Peaks. So boom, Glacial Peaks, that didn't take any time at all. A lot easier than before to kind of find where on Earth it is, and same as troop type. Shows all troop types, they're all in alphabetical order, so pretty easy to find. You can still search for specific things too, so let's say we wanted dragon, but we don't want to go through the little search thingy to go for it. We could just go to here, and boom, there's every single dragon in the game. Though it does bring up literally everything with the word dragon in it, so some of these may not be dragon, like for example tall, but to get past that, you would just actually go to the actual troop type thing, and then go go to dragon, which would then indeed bring up only dragons and not anything else like that. Now the tall is not there, but you can do it by any way. Same as you want to find a specific trait, we can just go and actually let me clear, set it to default, and then just say impervious, and then we can bring up every single troop in the game that has impervious, and yeah, that ends up working like that still, same as it was before, just slightly different with all this. They still don't have inverted searches, which is one really extremely bad design choice that they made. So for example, let's go to rarity and apply filter. And now let's go all the way down and go see our stuff. So I'm scrolling now. Let's actually count out the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, it took about 14 seconds that time. But to what I'm aware of, that is the quickest way to get here. And it literally took 14 seconds. That's like double the time of what it used to take before. And I thought it took forever before. No clue why they don't have inverted search or some kind of improvement for this. Was assuming they would when they added that additional search options. But if you want to go do this now, like if we want to find where all of our lowest rarities are, or some other kind of search where you need to go all the way to the bottom, that takes forever to actually do in the current format of the game, even more so than what it took before. So that was a little bit of a weird design choice. But yeah, that is everything basically with the filters. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory with it. Actually, I pretty much went over all of it. But they did take out a lot of settings compared to before, which I think is perfectly fine. It was a little bit clunky. I didn't even use a good majority of the settings prior. Everything that's up now, I would say, is the great bulk of what actually gets used. And as far as shop, I didn't go over this, but it's exactly the same. VIP 2 is also exactly the same, so nothing has actually really changed in all of that. Same as the options menu, I didn't bother going under that, but it is still the same as it has always been. So anyways, I believe that is absolutely everything from this patch. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Again, the link will be in the description. I might even post it in the comment section if you guys want to go leave feedback to the devs. I know there are a lot of changes this patch, many of which are very weird, so give them your feedback on it, and hopefully they will make adjustments to it, and we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.